This is. Do what I've done.
Oh, it is time to start.
Put it in there.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome. I'm glad you're all here. What a beautiful day we had today, huh? Finally, we waited a long time, right? Somebody was just saying we went from 50 degrees 3 days ago to 90 or something today, right? That's Buffalo. We're unique. So anyway, so before we start, I just want to remind you to make sure you put your cell phone. I just put mine on, turned off my ringer. And is there anybody that's here at a spiritual worship service like this for the first time? Oh, okay. Welcome. Okay. So let me just read you a little bit about what the service is about, and everybody can hear. I'm gonna move that away. Okay. So this worship service is based on the religion of spiritualism. While spiritualism has been around for centuries, modern spiritualism began in 1848 in a small town in New York State. Spiritualism believes that life continues after the physical change called death, and that God is a loving God who wants only our greatest good. We are spiritual beings having an earthly experience as we learn lessons for our individual growth. Spiritualism firmly believes that change for the better is always open to each of us, and that the ultimate expression of love is loving your neighbor as yourself. And with that in mind, it's so nice to come to a service like this and get to meet new people. So just turn around and say hi to somebody that's near you. Hi, Britt. Yeah, you can wait. I'll wave too. Okay, so I'd like to start with an opening prayer. Infinite Spirit, we welcome your presence here on this beautiful evening in this beautiful church as we all come together in unity to bring love, peace, and healing to each other and to our world. Amen. And I'd like to now call on Sharon Adler, who's going to come up and do a reading for us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is a reading that I got from, and it's Jesus of the Sacred Heart, channeled through Reverend Carlos Rubio. Dear ones, I am your brother, Jesus. I love you. My presence is always in your present. I support you as you boldly step into your mission every day. I am the courage and the resilience that is vested in you in times of weakness. I am the love that is poured over your being as a cascade of blessings. I am the light that walks alongside your light, and together we endeavor to ignite others who are ready and hungry for the meals of wisdom, knowledge, and truth. You are here to help elevate the vibratory rate of the consciousness on the earth. You are a unique and indispensable part of God's grandiose plan. Be happy and excited to wake up every day and know that you are an active participant. Your light is your most valuable possession. It is what makes up the real you. Your light is carrying this planet into the higher octaves of consciousness. You are assisting the ascension process by literally being a pillar of light. You are holding the Christ awareness that is currently bathing your planet. You are dropping the weight of the old paradigm in favor of supporting a lighter perspective in which oneness is paramount. Collectively, you are raising the levels of awareness on the planet. You are erecting the roof of awareness in the cathedral of consciousness. Each of you, whether you are aware of it or not, constitutes one of these pillars. Every day when you wake up, you are immediately in service to the collective by the quality of your field. This is the most fundamental level of service you provide. Your energy is necessary for human awakening to continue. You increase your field capacity by being aware of this process, your authentic self-identity, and your spiritual connections to each other and to God. You become aware of what I call your God self, which is another name for your higher or infinite self. This is your real identity. You are God. You're part of his energy. You swim in his waters, fly in his atmosphere, and breathe his air. There's nothing you can be that God is not. You and he are inseparable. You are God who is aware of the self. This self-realization is the biggest gift you can offer the Father. Your field or column of consciousness is fed by the sun star in your heart. Your heart is the compass that leads you straight to the will of God. His will cannot be found in the mind. This is where the individual will resides as the ego. By aligning with the will of God, you automatically start to live from a place of oneness in the heart center. The secret is to learn to bring into coherence the individual self with God's self so that they can work as one. You are everything, even ego. The ego is meant to serve the heart. When this takes place, your column of light grows wider and taller, lifting your awareness higher as well as the collective. By following the will of God in your heart space, you expand your column and shine brighter than your sun. You in turn emanate vibrations of total, pure, absolute love and burn away anything that prevents this light from shining through. Spiritual progress is not about getting rid of your burdens by means of pretending they're not there. It's about shining the fires of your consciousness so intensely that all your burdens burn away. Focus your attention on the statement, God, your will, not mine, and see where it leads. It will open the doors of the heart where your God self resides and guide you decisively into action with your mind, emotions, and hands. It will expand the levels of service you already provide. The will of God will reveal what to do, how to do it, and most importantly, why to do it. Let life take care of the things you cannot control, and let the love of God, through his will, show you what you're capable of. I leave that with you with light and love. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. That was great. Okay, so I'm going to now call on Reverend Irene, who's going to lead us in meditation and healing.
Thank you. So let each of us just relax. If you have something in your lap, you might want to clear that away and just make yourself comfortable. Because really a key to meditation is relaxation, because it's a letting go, just letting go. And that's what we'll do. There'll be a brief period of silence in the meditation, and then we'll go right into the healing. And I will guide you. All right, so let's just take a nice, deep cleansing breath in. And just let it go at your own pace, letting go of the day, any worldly cares, anything that is circling in your mind. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And at your own pace, breathe in fresh energy, taking a nice deep breath, filling in all the way up to your collarbone, filling your lungs, and feeling freshness entering your being. And you just pause and then let that go too. as you refresh yourself through your being and your breathing. And then again, at your own pace, start that a nice deep breath again. This time, feeling as you breathe in that you are breathing in love and patience and freedom, a sense of freeness, and that is building within you. As you let go, when you breathe out, of any emotional care, any mental care, any physical care. And then one more time, breathe in again. And this time, feel yourself breathing in gratitude, in upliftment, almost a rebirth of energy, lifting you up, lifting you up. And then letting go at your own pace and breathing gently. As you start to abide within yourself, and you feel yourself being aligned so that you can open up to this divine energy that lies within each of us, but also all around us. We feel that building, and we feel light building within, carrying us forward and upward, feeling upliftment as we seek shelter in the love of the divine. Lifting up, and feeling the light within yourself. The light which obeys your heart and turns inward to that pure love and that pure love around you. As you tune into this sacredness, you feel and you follow its wisdom, its fortitude, its strength. And you open to the divine creator in knowing you are safe and you are in harmony for this time of silence, of being listened to, comforted, and cared for by the divine as we go into silence. And as we rest in this divine energy, let us go into the healing portion. With your eyes still closed, bring your attention once again to your breath, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Now, visualize a rose pink healing light. Imagine a beautiful rose pink light emanating from your heart, filling you with love and compassion. Begin now to send the light outward. Extend this light outward, encompassing your family. Your friends. Your community. And the entire planet. And now imagine a world of peace. Imagine a world where there is no conflict, only understanding, respect, and cooperation. Continue to see the world surrounded by this beautiful light. Feel the connection. Sense the interconnectedness of all beings in the planet, knowing that your actions and thoughts have an impact on the world. Hold this vision of a healed and peaceful world in your heart, knowing that you are a part of the process. Begin now to gradually return to your body. Notice the sensation of your body, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. With your eyes still closed, send healing light to these loved ones on the absentee healing list. Andrew, Kat, Michelle, Joan, Kevin, Leroy, Janine, Amanda, Maxine, Abby, Melissa, Xavier, Baby Z, Brittany, Brenda, Laura, Elizabeth, Joe W., Mo, Danny, Joyce, Janie, Tim, Casey, Cody, Linda, Cindy, Sydney, Aiden, Claire, Murphy, Jason, Janaki, Baby Julia, Ginny, Joel, Andrea, Jen, Bob, James, Paula, Eva, Michael, Annie, and Paul. And we give thanks for the healing that has gone out to each of these people, each of our loved ones, and we give thanks. And so please slowly open your eyes. And if you need to, you could wiggle your toes or your fingers. All right. So, because I'm going to ask you to turn to your order of service and to the lyrics for It's a Wonderful, What a Wonderful World. Okay. Please be seated. Thank you for your singing and your energy. Ready? Goodbye.
Where is it? Oh, thank you. Okay, so it's time now for, doesn't Irene do a great job with our meditation?
Yeah.
She really does, yeah,
Really?
yeah. So it's time to introduce our inspirational speaker, my friend Connie Griffith. Let me tell you a little bit about Connie first. So Connie is a resident of Lilydale and has been a registered medium for the last 30 years. Her education includes a degree in industrial engineering and a master's degree in business administration. She worked for 20 years in health as a healthcare executive and for 11 years as a project manager doing construction projects for an international real estate company. Connie is a graduate of the School of Spiritual Healing and Prophecy and ordained by Fellowships of the Spirit. She is a life member of Church of the Living Spirit and of Lilydale Assembly. Over the years, Connie has taught past life regression classes, various development classes, and has enjoyed teaching about the Lilydale Labyrinth. She is an avid curiosity seeker of many things. And I give you Connie Griffith.
Thank you, Angie. It's my pleasure to be here this evening, and the topic that I'm going to speak to you about is called cosmic natural law. There are many principles of natural law, and they can be represented by aphorisms such as like attracts like, you reap what you sow, the golden rule, or concepts such as there's a balance within the universe, or that all happenings operate by cause and effect. And sometimes when I hear those, I say to myself, yeah, I've heard it all before, and while true, they're pretty dry. I prefer to see the miraculousness of such effects in our world. Miraculousness, as in the meaning of divinely natural events that must be learned humanly. And I like the word miracle. I like to think that the divinity in me can create miracles. So when I happened across a book, just happened, mind you, by Dr. Paul Pearsall called Making Miracles, I added it to my library. I happened to pick it up when I was looking for a small story to use. These things just happened. How often do we experience omens in our lives that we don't take the time to interpret? Or worse, they're so out of our awareness that we don't even see them. And how wonderful when we do pay attention. It can seem like miracles happen. What seems to be an obstacle can become the outworking of a divine plan. The spiritualists would agree with Dr. Pearsall's view that there is a powerful hidden order behind life's chaos, crises, and coincidences. And that order lies hidden from our awareness, to be discovered by us in the little things of life as well as the major crises. It's natural law at work, and we have only to pay attention to circumstances around us to begin to pierce the veil of ignorance and see that order. So what do we pay attention? Let's start with coincidences. In terms of natural law, a coincidence could be a demonstration of the law of attraction in some cases. Years ago, I was in a period of book reading, lots of book reading. I would go into a bookstore and the books would literally fall off the shelves at my feet. So I bought lots of books. And I even had bookcases made to store all the books. Many were read, and many more just took up space. Then over the next several years, as I began to become more involved in spiritual studies and meditation, I didn't delve so much into the books. The teachings then were more of an experiential nature. But on one particular occasion, I experienced a profound spiritual awakening, which rocked my nervous system. I had no reference to understand what was happening and no spiritual teacher at that time to help guide me. Well, what to my wondering eyes should appear on my bookshelf? A book about that experience. It put things in perspective and took away my fear of something new. Dr. Pearsall says that miracles are the product of immutable cosmic laws in action, which once understood can be used to make miracles for ourselves and our loved ones. And I like that idea. He notes that the new science of the last several decades, quantum theory, relativity, and chaos theory, explain in scientific terms the ancient religious and spiritual laws. He explains how those scientific theories are represented as the observer principle, the principle of non-locality, the complementary principle, and the uncertainty principle. For example, the observer participancy of quantum theory. In quantum theory, scientists found that the subatomic particles behave both as waves of light and particles of matter, depending on the experiential tool used to observe them. In other words, they showed characteristics that change depending on the scientist's participation. This also explains the spiritual understanding of we create our world by what, how, and when we choose to be aware of and interpret the events of life. Kind of like this. There was a little girl who walked to and from school daily. Though the weather that morning was questionable and clouds were forming, she made her daily trek to the elementary school. As the afternoon progressed, winds whipped up along with thunder and lightning. The mother of the little girl felt concerned that her daughter would be frightened as she walked home from school, and she herself feared that the electrical storm might be a hazard. Following the roar of thunder, lightning like a flaming sword would cut through the sky. Full of concern, the mother quickly got into her car and drove along the route to her child's school. As she did so, she saw her little girl walking along, but at each flash of lightning, the child would stop, look up, and smile. Another and another flash of lightning would follow quickly, and with each, the little girl would look up at the streak of light and smile. When the mother's car drew up beside the child, she lowered the window and called out to her, "What are you doing? Why do you keep stopping?" And the child answered, "I'm smiling to look pretty. God keeps taking my picture." How's that for an interpretation of how we perceive the events of life? Some other divinely natural laws that must be learned humanly include the principle of non-locality, meaning we can transcend space and time. Just like radio and TV broadcast programs that are here in this room right now, but we don't have a tuner to receive them. Everything in our life is already here. The energy patterns are here. We only need to find a way to tune them into our lives. Sounds like a spin on the ancient teachings of Buddha about how we can spread loving kindness through sharing our meta energy with the world. And more recently of the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's transcendental meditation effects. When 1% of the population became meditators, subsequent studies showed a direct cause and effect relationship of the crime rates going down, greater family and political harmony, less traffic jams, and many other beneficial society effects. In coincidental terms, you think of someone and a minute later that person calls. Now, this is supposedly a true story. The pastor's church is called Almighty God Tabernacle. On a Saturday night, the pastor was working late and decided to call his wife before he left for home. It was about 10 p.m., but his wife did not answer the phone. The pastor let it ring many times. He thought it was odd that she didn't answer, but decided to wrap up a few more things and try again before he left. When he tried again, she answered right away. He asked her why she hadn't answered before, and she said, well, the phone never rang. He brushed it off as a fluke and thought no more about it. The following Monday, the pastor received a call at the church office, which is the phone he had used to call home Saturday night. The man who called wanted to know why he had been called on Saturday night. And the pastor couldn't figure out what the guy was talking about. Then the man said, the phone rang and rang, but I didn't answer it. Then the pastor remembered the mishap and apologized for disturbing him, explaining that he'd intended to call his wife. The man said, oh, that's okay. Let me tell you my story. You see, I was at the end of my rope on Saturday night, not sure if I could make it through another day with the way my life was working out. I thought of ending it all. And before I did, I prayed, God, if you're there, give me a sign now. At that point, my phone started ringing. I looked at the caller ID and it said, Almighty God. I was afraid to answer. Another effect of the non-locality principle is what we would call the natural law of cause and effect, such as when you set your intention and somehow things just work out that way. Or you meditate daily and your life begins to change. Or you send healing to a friend and they report feeling much better. The total of ourselves and our effect in the world is not limited by the time and place of our physical form. Wherever you are, God is. God is a participle, an active movement, the ing in being. All is here right now. And I like this story about planting potatoes. An old man lived alone in Minnesota. He wanted to spade his potato gardens, but it was very hard work. His only son, who would have helped him, was in prison. The old man wrote a letter to his son and mentioned his predicament. Shortly, he received this reply, for heaven's sake, Dad, don't dig up the garden. That's where I buried the guns. At 4 a.m. the next morning, a dozen police showed up and dug up the entire garden without finding any guns. Confused, the old man wrote another letter to his son telling him what happened and asking him what to do next. His son's reply was, now plant your potatoes, Dad. It's the best I could do at this time. So the next principle, the complementarity principle, is much like the law of balance. It draws our awareness to both the revealed and the hidden of our experience, the meaning we see and the contrasting meaning that's also there, both sides of the coin of life experiences. Recognizing how different perspectives can reveal different but equally valid truths allows us to make choices about how we live our lives and relate to others. There's a story about the quilt and the clock that illustrates this. Elena and her younger brother, Marco, had very different views of their father. To Marco, their father was rigid and cold. He cares more about schedules than people, Marco would say. He times everything, dinner, chores, even hugs. It's like living with a machine. But Elena saw him differently. He's steady, she said. When Mom passed away, he didn't fall apart. He got up every day, kept the house warm, made sure we ate, and got us to school on time. He held everything together. One afternoon, their grandmother overheard them arguing. She brought them both into the living room and laid out two things on the table, an old patchwork quilt and a ticking mantle clock. This quilt, she said, was sewn by your mother. Each square is a different color, a different fabric, soft, wild, warm. That was her spirit. She pointed to the clock. That belonged to your father's father. It never ran fast or slow. Your father wound it every night during the hardest years, just like he kept this family going. You miss your mother's warmth, she said to Marco. And you admire your father's strength, she said to Elena. Then she looked at them both. But a family needs both the quilt and the clock. One gives comfort, the other gives rhythm. Together, they keep us whole. In family, what feels like contradiction is often complementary. Warmth and structure, emotion and duty. They may seem at odds, but they work together to hold us up. This law of balance is much like Carl Jung's understanding of the anima and the animus, different facets of the same jewel. Or to put it in popular thought, Star Wars Force and the dark side. As long as we are willing to become aware of both and recognize both within ourselves, we can then take responsibility for the meaning of our lives. And we can see our mutual interdependence on each other. We are all facets of God. And finally, the uncertainty principle. Simply put, the more precisely we know one aspect of something, the less precisely we can know another. It's often taken more broadly to show how trying to perfectly understand a moment or a person can distort our grasp of something else just as important. Life sometimes forces us to choose what to focus on. Clarity in one area comes at the cost of another. And that's not failure. It's the deep nature of delicate things. Illustrated in this story called The Last Conversation. Julian sat alone in the dim cafe where he and Clara had shared coffee every Thursday for nearly a year. She had moved away months ago, chasing a new job and a different life, but her absence still echoed through the small rituals they once kept. He had just listened to a voicemail she'd left before leaving, one he'd never deleted, never stopped analyzing. Hey, I don't know. I hope this makes sense. Maybe I'll explain it better in person. He'd replayed it hundreds of times. He'd memorized the way her voice caught halfway through the word hope, the slight tremble as if she were cold or holding something back. He'd slowed it down, wondered, was it regret, uncertainty, love? The more he dissected the words, the more they fell apart. Her meaning slipped through his fingers. A friend once told him, you can hold on to what she said, or you can remember how it felt to sit across from her, but not both, not clearly. Julian didn't understand it then, but now he did. Trying to pin down her meaning had blurred the memory of her presence, the warmth of her laugh, the way she sipped from her cup, the quiet comfort of just being, all fading as he grasped harder for precision. As we embrace the uncertainty in life, we learn to give up our absolutes and be comfortable with ambiguity. Life is seldom either or. Most often it's both and. About 30 years ago, I suffered the humiliation of being fired from a really terrible job. The coincidence was that as I loaded my box of personal items in my car to leave, there were 9 large black feathers on the ground right beside my car door. Using the observer principle, I chose to look at this situation as having been given my freedom of flight. Amid the chaos of uncertainty about how I was to provide for myself, I felt pulled to move to my summer house in Lilydale, which coincidentally I had purchased only 3 months before. And soon after, I became registered as a medium there, which was certainly a miracle at the time. Isn't it odd sometimes how things work out? As Yogi Berra says, when you come to a fork in the road, take it and look for the miracles in your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those stories. I'm sure all of us, I bet, will take part of some of those stories and just take them with us. I feel I learned so much. I understand the law so much better because of your talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many blessings. I love stories. I think we learn best from stories. So thank you for the abundance of stories. All right, it's our time for collection. And if our two ushers will come forward, a place of worship is grown on love and strong intention. We ask for your support as we strive to grow in love and understanding. As the baskets are passed, we invite you to offer both your spiritual and monetary blessings. Thank you. And as we collect from front to back, I'm inviting the congregation to stand and sing, "Let It Be." Please be seated. Thank you. They allow us to grow in purpose, in love, in faith, and understanding. Thank you so much. Here we are. Paul McCartney just filled his music with so much energy. It's amazing. And now we have announcements. And there's a lot going on in the summer, as I'm sure a number of you know. And we wanted to alert you to that Reverend Angie app right here, and Reverend Mark Thomas, who's in the back, are teaching part 1 of Spiritual Insight Training, or SIT as it's known, in Lilydale, New York this weekend. It starts Friday night, June 6th through 8th. There are still a few spots left, and they would love to have you there. Through multiple experiences, students learn how to deepen meditation, work with healing energy, and how to unfold inborn intuitive gifts. Combined parts of 1 and 2 of Spiritual Insight Training will be taught at Fellowships Learning Center in Casadega near the end of July or September, and more details are on the Fellowships of the Spirit website. Second announcement. Feeling overwhelmed or disconnected? Join Mark Thomas on Monday evenings this month, for Be Still and Know, meditation instruction for today's turbulent world. This 4-part meditation series is designed to help you reconnect with calm, clarity, and your soul's inner wisdom. This coming Monday, June 9th, is the first class from 7 to 8:30 p.m. EDT. Eastern Daylight Time, and the series runs through June 30th. There are 3 ways to attend. Okay, a lot of flexibility here. In person at Fellowships of the Spirit Lakeside Learning Center, that's in Casadega. In person at Santosha Holistic Center in Williamsville, and that'll have Zoom instruction led by Mark Thomas. But Angie will be there at the Santosha Holistic Center, or live online via Zoom. Experienced instructor Mark Thomas's teachings draw from Christian mysticism, Taoism, Vedic wisdom, and more. Sign up at Fellowships of the Spirit or fellowshipspirit.org, and that URL has 2 S's. Okay. Fellowships of Spirit has a school of spiritual healing and prophecy, which offers a comprehensive 2-year certification course in spiritual enrichment and learning. Last month, members of the school's 35th graduating class received, a number of them, their minister's papers. So, and a new session of a new class begins in October. And definitely, if this piques your interest, check out more details, and there's a wonderful explanation on Fellowship's website with plenty of details. And there'll be a number of classes this summer at Fellowship's Lakeside Learning Center in Casadega, such as Healing Sound Frequencies with Jill Matson on June 14th. She's recorded a number of CDs. A new class, Excellence in Mediumship with Reverend Angie App, is June 21st through 22nd. There's also, if you're interested in exercise, Introduction to Qigong Healing with Susie Rosinski on June 28th. And the next day, Cassandra Butler is going to give a class on the ABCs of astrology. If that's something that's always interested you, but you haven't had time to learn more, there's an opportunity. There's also Feng Shui and the Chinese Zodiac with Belinda Elson in August, and much more. A number of classes are also available through Zoom, if travel is an issue. And so you can find the entire list of classes and more details at fellowshipsofthespirit.org, and you just click on events at the top. This tonight is our final monthly worship service for the spring. We'll take a break during the summer while Reverend Angie serves at Lilydale and Fellowships, and then we'll resume the fall. In the meantime, Fellowships of the Spirit currently has a Sunday Vesper service at 6 p.m. At its Lakeside Learning Center in Cassadaga with a different speaker each week. And that's going to be throughout the summer and on into the fall. It's another time, another opportunity to come together and recharge with community and inspiring thoughts. So, and Reverend Mark Thomas is right at the back if you have any questions about that. And Reverend Connie also can answer those questions after service. So anything else?
No.
Okay, I know. Hey, summer is hopping in many ways, including the bunnies. So, at this point, I'm going to turn the service over to Reverend Angie for the message portion of our service.
Yes, it's time for the message portion. So we're always excited about this part. We believe that message work is healing work, and we're always going to give messages that are going to be for highest and best. I'm going to call mediums up, and I would say take a look at what color you're wearing, okay? Because they may come and say, can I come to the lady right there in blue? All right, so you know. They might ask you your name, so shout out your name. And if you don't want a message, you can always say no. No offense there. The other thing too is a lot of times when we give messages in public settings like this, you might hear somebody else getting a message and you might think that message belongs to you. Okay. If it does, and you feel that way, take the message, because Spirit works that way so that more people get messages than who we're giving them to. Okay. And if you want to join me in your brochure, is our message service prayer. And I'm going to say the prayer. Say it with me. Oh God, as we open the door to communication in unity of the Holy Spirit, the great I am presence of the universe, we give thanks, for we know that the words spoken are filled with your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding of the highest. Amen. And that's actually Reverend Elaine Thomas's prayer. Okay, so for our first worker, I would
I'll find the wisdom I want to. I'll be home, yeah. That's where I've always been. As I walk the path, I'll take your hand. Oh, yeah. Every little lessons to be learned. As we change ourselves and change the world, we'll find the answers. We'll find together we are one. We'll be whole again. We'll be whole again. As we walk the path, take your hand. Each one of us is hard. We can share one by one. We'll be whole again. We'll be whole again. As we walk the path, take your hand. We'll be whole again. We'll be whole again. As we walk the path, take your hand. Oh, yeah. And we give gratitude and appreciation for all that we've shared tonight, one with the other. And may we carry this home with us. And I wish you we all wish you many, many blessings in the months ahead. And last but not least, will you please return the order of service to the little basket on the bench as you come in? So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. You're talking.